Our lives are largely the accumulation of the small habits we repeat daily and the tiny steps we take consistently. For many years, I was skeptical of the claims that changing just a few small habits could lead to a complete transformation in one's life. Self-help books, motivational talks, and supposedly life-changing advice often seemed exaggerated, hollow, or overly simplistic to me. However, over the course of the past 7 days, I've had an experience that has fundamentally changed my perspective. In these 7 days, I committed to trying a lifestyle inspired by Stoic philosophy, with the goal of improving myself by just 1% each day. This approach doesn't advocate for massive, overwhelming changes all at once, but instead focuses on small, intentional adjustments over time. Stoicism teaches us to maintain composure in the face of what we cannot control, to focus on what we can influence, and to lead meaningful lives grounded in inner balance. This philosophical stance isn't just an abstract idea. It is something that can be woven into the fabric of everyday life through specific, actionable habits. By the end of the week, I could see concrete improvements in my life. My thought patterns began to shift, my emotional state became calmer, and I felt a newfound clarity in how I approached the world. These changes, though seemingly minor on a day-to-day basis, built upon one another and resulted in a transformation I could not have anticipated in such a short span of time. If you, too, are seeking a fresh start, a new direction, or a way to break free from the grip of fleeting emotions and live a more meaningful life, I invite you to explore these 10 habits. These habits, when practiced with intention, have the potential to create profound change in as little as a week. Habit 1. Learning to overcome negative emotions. The first and arguably most critical step in any transformative process is learning how to face negative emotions in a constructive and healthy way. These emotions, anger, sadness, disappointment, fear, are natural parts of the human experience. Yet our typical response is to suppress, deny, or avoid them. Instead of silencing these feelings, we must learn to recognize and accept them, name them, and understand their origins. During my journey, I discovered the power of pausing in moments of distress. For example, when I felt frustration bubbling up during a challenging conversation, I resisted the urge to react impulsively. Instead, I took a deep breath, tuned into my body's signals, and asked myself, what am I truly feeling right now? Why is this situation triggering me? This practice not only diffused the intensity of my emotions, but also allowed me to respond with greater clarity and composure. Negative emotions often carry valuable messages about our unmet needs or unresolved wounds. By exploring their roots, we can uncover the ways in which past experiences, traumas, or conditioned beliefs shape our present reactions. For instance, I found that certain anxieties I felt in social situations stemmed from childhood experiences of rejection. Recognizing this connection helped me approach these moments with more understanding and self-compassion. To effectively manage negative emotions, I integrated several practices into my daily routine. Journaling. Each evening, I wrote down the emotions I experienced throughout the day, noting what triggered them and how I responded. This helped me identify patterns and track my growth over time. Meditation. By practicing mindfulness meditation, I learned to observe my emotions without judgment, creating a space between feeling and reaction. Gratitude practice. Shifting my focus to what I was grateful for, even in challenging situations, helped me reframe my perspective and reduce the grip of negative feelings. Additionally, I experimented with cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT techniques, such as cognitive reframing. This involved identifying and challenging unhelpful thought patterns that exacerbated my negative emotions. For example, instead of thinking, "I'm terrible at this task, I'll never improve," I would replace that thought with, "I'm learning, and each attempt helps me get better." Overcoming negative emotions is not about erasing them, but about cultivating the skills to navigate them with grace and resilience. With time and consistent effort, this habit lays the foundation for deeper emotional healing and growth. Habit 2. Becoming attentive to your impressions. Every day, we are bombarded with impressions, immediate thoughts, feelings, and judgments that arise in response to the world around us. These impressions often feel automatic and uncontrollable, but Stoic philosophy teaches that we have the power to pause, reflect, and evaluate them objectively. One morning, I woke up to a message from a coworker that read, "We need to talk about the project." My initial reaction was panic. My mind raced with thoughts like, "Did I make a mistake? Am I about to be criticized?" However, instead of letting these feelings spiral out of control, I decided to apply a Stoic principle, distinguishing between the impression and the reality. I asked myself, what evidence do I have for these fears? Is there another explanation for this message? Through this process, I realized that my coworker's words were neutral. It was my interpretation that had attached anxiety to them. By choosing to reflect rather than react, I was able to approach the conversation with an open mind, and it turned out to be a positive and productive discussion. To cultivate this habit, I began a daily practice of reviewing my impressions. At the end of each day, I would reflect on moments when my emotions had been triggered and ask, what was my initial impression of the situation? Was my reaction based on evidence or assumption? How could I have responded more calmly or rationally? I also started practicing mindfulness throughout the day, consciously observing my thoughts as they arose. This helped me catch negative or irrational impressions in the moment and address them before they spiraled into unnecessary worry or stress. This practice not only reduced unnecessary stress, but also deepened my understanding of my thought patterns and emotional triggers. Over time, I noticed a marked improvement in my ability to remain calm and composed in situations that once left me feeling overwhelmed. Habit 3. Recognizing our interconnectedness. As human beings, we are deeply interconnected with the world around us. Every action we take, no matter how small, ripples outward and affects others, our communities, and even the natural environment. Recognizing this interconnectedness is not only humbling, but also profoundly motivating. Each morning, I began my day with a gratitude practice that connected me to the larger world. I would write down 3 things I was thankful for, ranging from the kindness of a stranger to the beauty of the trees outside my window. This simple act expanded my perspective beyond myself and reminded me of my place in the greater web of life. One of the most impactful lessons I learned during this habit was the importance of small, conscious actions. For example, choosing to reduce my use of single-use plastics felt like a minor inconvenience, but it was a way of honoring my connection to the planet. Similarly, making an effort to show kindness to a neighbor or support a struggling friend strengthened the bonds that tie us together. Recognizing our interconnectedness encourages us to act with greater compassion, responsibility, and purpose. It reminds us that our lives gain meaning not only through individual achievements, but also through the ways we contribute to the well-being of others. To reinforce this idea, I joined local community initiatives such as park cleanups and charity drives, which allowed me to experience the direct impact of collective effort. This practice also inspired me to make more environmentally conscious choices in my daily life, such as using public transportation, reducing food waste, and supporting sustainable businesses. Each of these actions, though seemingly small, felt significant in the context of my interconnectedness with the world. Habit 4. Distinguishing what you can and cannot control. One of the most liberating lessons of Stoic philosophy is the concept of the dichotomy of control. Understanding the distinction between what we can influence and what is beyond our control. This principle helps us focus our energy on areas where it can make a difference, while letting go of futile struggles against the inevitable. For instance, I can control how I care for my health by eating well and exercising regularly, but I cannot guarantee perfect health or prevent all illnesses. Similarly, I can strive to communicate clearly and respectfully with others, but I cannot control how they perceive me or react. Applying this habit in daily life requires a deliberate shift in perspective. Each evening, I would review the day's challenges and sort them into two categories: what I could control and what I could not. This exercise helped me redirect my efforts toward productive actions and freed me from the frustration of trying to change the unchangeable. The practice of distinguishing between control and acceptance fosters a sense of inner peace. It allows us to approach life's uncertainties with grace and to focus on what truly matters. For example, during a week filled with tight deadlines at work, I reminded myself that while I couldn't control my colleagues' responses or unforeseen obstacles, I could control my attitude, preparation, and effort. Habit 5. Focusing on virtue and character. In a world that often prioritizes external success, wealth, status, and recognition, it is easy to lose sight of what truly sustains a meaningful life: the strength of our character and the virtues we embody. Stoicism emphasizes 4 cardinal virtues: wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. These virtues serve as guiding principles for how we live and interact with others. Throughout the week, I reflected on how I could align my actions with these virtues. For example, in moments of conflict, I practiced justice by seeking fairness and understanding rather than assigning blame. When faced with a difficult decision, I drew on courage to act according to my values, even if it was uncomfortable. In situations of temptation, I exercised temperance by prioritizing long-term goals over immediate gratification. By focusing on virtue, I began to measure my success, not by external outcomes, but by the integrity of my actions. This shift brought a profound sense of fulfillment and self-respect. Additionally, I used self-reflection to assess how my decisions aligned with my core values, journaling about instances where I succeeded or fell short in embodying these virtues. Habit 6. Maintaining an objective perspective. Life is filled with challenges and uncertainties that can cloud our judgment and trigger emotional reactions. Maintaining an objective perspective helps us navigate these moments with clarity and composure. This habit involves stepping back from a situation and evaluating it from a neutral, logical standpoint. For example, when a project I had worked on received criticism, my initial reaction was defensiveness. However, by taking a step back and asking, "What can I learn from this feedback?" I was able to see the situation as an opportunity for growth rather than a personal attack. Practicing objectivity requires humility and openness. It means questioning our assumptions, seeking diverse viewpoints, and being willing to revise our beliefs when presented with new evidence. Over time, this mindset fosters greater resilience and adaptability. To strengthen this skill, I began a practice of discussing challenging situations with a trusted mentor or friend. to gain alternative perspectives. Habit 7. Embracing voluntary discomfort. In a world designed for convenience and comfort, deliberately choosing discomfort may seem counterintuitive. However, voluntary discomfort is a powerful way to build resilience, discipline, and gratitude. Each day, I introduced small challenges into my routine, such as taking cold showers, walking instead of driving, or skipping a meal. These experiences pushed me out of my comfort zone and taught me to endure discomfort with patience and grace. They also deepened my appreciation for the simple comforts I often take for granted. By embracing voluntary discomfort, we cultivate the mental and emotional strength needed to face life's inevitable challenges. We also develop a deeper sense of gratitude for the many blessings we often overlook. Over time, these practices helped me reframe difficult experiences as opportunities for growth and self-mastery. Habit 8. Cultivating deep focus. Modern life is fraught with distractions, from constant notifications to endless streams of information vying for our attention. The ability to focus deeply on a single task has become a rare and valuable skill. Cultivating this habit requires intentional effort, but pays significant dividends in productivity and mental clarity. To practice deep focus, I dedicated specific blocks of time each day to uninterrupted work. I turned off notifications, closed unnecessary tabs, and created a quiet, clutter-free environment. During these sessions, I used techniques like the Pomodoro method, working in 25-minute intervals with short breaks in between. Over time, I found myself able to concentrate for longer periods without succumbing to distractions. Deep focus also involves prioritizing tasks that align with your long-term goals. I made it a habit to review my to-do list each morning, identifying the most important tasks and tackling them during my peak energy hours. This approach not only boosted my efficiency, but also brought a sense of accomplishment and purpose to my day. Habit 9. Practicing radical acceptance. Life often throws us curveballs, unexpected challenges, losses, and disappointments that are beyond our control. Practicing radical acceptance means embracing these realities without resistance or denial. It's not about giving up, but about acknowledging the situation as it is and choosing how to move forward. During the week, I faced a significant setback in a personal project. Initially, I felt frustrated and disheartened, but by practicing radical acceptance, I shifted my perspective. I asked myself, what can I learn from this experience? How can I adapt? This mindset allowed me to let go of unproductive frustration and focus on finding solutions. To cultivate radical acceptance, I incorporated affirmations into my daily routine. Phrases like, "This moment is as it is," and "I can choose my response," helped ground me in the present. I also used mindfulness practices, such as body scans and breathing exercises, to release tension and reconnect with a sense of calm. Habit 10. Building a routine of reflection. Reflection is the cornerstone of growth. Without taking the time to assess our actions, thoughts, and experiences, we risk repeating the same mistakes and missing opportunities for improvement. Building a routine of reflection ensures that we remain aligned with our values and goals. Each evening, I spent 15 minutes journaling about my day. I asked myself questions like, what went well today? What challenges did I face, and how did I handle them? What can I do differently tomorrow? This practice not only highlighted areas for growth, but also reinforced positive behaviors. Over time, my journal became a valuable record of my journey, providing insights into patterns and progress that might otherwise have gone unnoticed. The power of small habits, transforming life in a week. When practiced consistently, These 10 habits create a synergistic effect that can transform your life, even within a single week. Over time, their impact deepens, fostering lasting change and personal growth. These habits teach us to manage our emotions, reflect on our thoughts, connect with the world around us, focus on what we can control, embody our values, maintain clarity, and build resilience. Together, they form a blueprint for a more meaningful and fulfilling life. The journey of transformation begins with small, intentional steps. By committing to these habits, you not only enhance your own well-being, but also inspire positive change in those around you. Remember, the power to transform your life lies in your hands. Take that first step today and watch the ripple effect unfold.